Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, before we turn over our calendars to May, we must, of course, end April with our monthly Q&A. You know the deal. You drop your questions down below. We take them the order they came in on. We've got everything from what's going on with the competitiveness in the credit card market. Are they adding more obstacles to bank promotions and cards? And, of course, we have a few about travel, all that in between, even a Trump or Reagan comparison. You'll never guess who asked that. I'm looking at it right now. Can't wait to get everyone mad at me. So, chapters, tools down below. Feel free to hop around because we go long here, but of course, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. So, DJ Bats lead off. He says, what do you think of the future of credit card and bank bonus game will be? More hoops, dog show obstacle course, more cracking down on gaming and churning, less opportunities, more opportunities. Right now, we seem to be in a world of cracking down. For sure, there's a lot of referral programs that were used to be reliable, like Chime. Doesn't seem as reliable anymore. Affinity has changed theirs. You know, I was going through the list of referral links that I could plug for channel members, and like it's significantly reduced of the ones that actually pay out consistently. I think they pay the new member, but they can tell very clearly, hey, you're just spamming this on the internet or something, which you're not supposed to do. Clearly, you're supposed to just refer people you know. So we're seeing stuff like that. Last week we had the video on Bluevine. Or, you know, Bluevine changed the terms mid-bonus because they didn't like what they were seeing and then denied a lot of us. E-Trade. They did very similar. They did worse. E-Trade sent out targeted emails, and for people who were targeted, completed legitimate direct deposits, they were just told you're not getting the bonus, which is insane. So yes, for that, for sure. So I think cracking down and enforcing rules that have already been there, and I kind of see it as like the streaming services and enforcing password sharing. Like they've always known, right? They've always known what we're doing. We're not nearly as smart as we think because we put it on the internet and most things. Like I'm surprised the amount of things that I search and like I will come up. I'm not even that big, but I'm just, you know, you title it that bank promotional offer, they'll find it. But I think they've always known, and then you know get times where like, hey, we need to pull back a little bit, conserve capital perhaps, is an easy lever to pull to just enforce rules that are already there. Much like streaming, they've always known your password sharing. Okay, well, I'm out of growth ideas. Well, I can just pull the lever, enforce password sharing, and now like I'm saving money or something like that. Maybe I get some people to go make some new accounts. Obstacles, I don't think you see more obstacles because you don't want to alienate your current customers who are trying in good faith. You know, I could make it 50 debit card transactions. I can make it direct deposit $10,000. But the reason you see, for the most part, $500, $1,000 direct deposits is because that's accessible to everyone, right? So you also don't want to kick out everyone who's trying. So I do think it'll be more enforcement of the rules that have really always been there. I just didn't enforce them as much. I do also think it's cyclical. I don't think this will last forever by any means. I mean, we're hot off a time where they were like, oh no, they're cutting credit limits to protect themselves, to, we didn't hit any of our sales goals. Let's pull the lever and let's just fire the Inc. 900s off and let people sign up for as many of them as they want, seemingly, right? So I feel like it's just like a cyclical thing overall. But yeah, right now, you're right. Like, we're seeing multiple bank promotions tighten up, referral programs disappear, keep people out. It's not great, but you know, I just try to remind myself it's all extra money in the end, right? I still have a real job, you know, so it sucks, but hey. Curmudgeon here. RJ seems the credit card world has become a bit stagnant with very few new products being introduced and others being discontinued. Is the golden age over? Is it just a sign of the economic times? Somewhat, kind of, sort of, probably the times and the golden age being over. I mean, if we go back through it, like we just finished the Smartly saga probably like a week or two ago with the final publishing of the updated terms. But before then, that was like the big banger of, you know, late last year. If I go past Smartly, then I know I'm one of the few people who's a big fan, but I thought the Autograph Journey and the Attune card were huge cards. I know not everyone felt the same way, but then you're probably talking Custom Cash, Freedom Flex, and Venture X. So there's still a decent amount of hits in there. AAA Daily Advantage, sleeper hit, but we don't see them too much anymore. And I just, for the banks at the top, I don't know if there's like reason for them to compete and keep adding more products. I don't think people are looking for these cards the way we are. I think people are looking for just a place that they can, get a card or two and use it. So, in times when it's like, we don't really know what's going to happen, maybe it's just like, I'm just going to hold on making new products and things like that. For a while, I mean, most of the co-branded companies are dialed in already that you would want. So, like, where do you go? What do you add? I know Chase is rumored to add the Palm card. There's some Wells Fargo stuff. Maybe they still owe us. There's a Citi card. I think we might end up seeing more cards at the higher price tier that kind of push on that, like, relationship banking type thing, or your higher net worth people. But I'm offering you less points and earnings and more experiences in membership, in quotes. We could see some stuff like that. I do think it's cyclical overall, but I guess for whatever reason, there doesn't seem to be a ton of competition. I guess to the U.S. Bank point, they kind of showed us what would I really compete on. People don't leave their bank too often. So U.S. Bank gave us a very compelling reason to leave, and even that didn't work for them, right? Like, I speculate that it wasn't just the money that U.S. Bank was losing on Smartly. It was the fact that we only brought over 100 grand into an IRA and $10 in the savings and $10 in the checking or what have you. So even then, like, what kind of customer am I getting for this hot new product, right? We always like, what is Bank of America going to do? Well, now Bank of America is just going to laugh at U.S. Bank and not do anything, right? Because it's just been proven I don't have to do all that. Because most people don't leave their bank anyways, without them really messing up. I mean, Wells Fargo did not move out of the top 4 of banking for all the stuff that they've done, right? That shows me that people just don't care as much as they like to say they care. So to answer your question, who am I really competing for? It's stagnant to us. We want more stuff for sure, but for the customers they really want, I think they're doing okay, unfortunately. So I agree with you. I just don't know if it's a problem for the banks the way it is for us. Kari B Dude here with quite a few said, would you recommend getting the double cash before the Strata Premier, vice versa? I would go with the Strata just because it offers the higher sign-up bonus, and Citi, at least from what I've seen, they seem to will approve you for your first card because I don't want to turn away a new customer, but sometimes your second card can a little bit more difficult. The Strata, or even when it's the Citi Premier, they also seem a little bit more sensitive on. The double cash, they seem to be much more lenient from what I've seen. So unless you just really want the double cash, I would probably go Strata first for those reasons overall. Would you consider the Wells Fargo Autograph and Capital One Saver a hybrid of the Citi Strata Premier? Yeah, I mean, I think the Autograph really matches up well with the Strata. I mean, it's a lot of 3X categories plus no annual fees, whereas the Strata has its $95 annual fee. Yes, you can use the hotel credit. It's still priced a little bit higher than I would want to get the redemption, but it is doable for sure to hit like a $500 stay or something. But yeah, I think the Autograph is every bit as good as the Strata, honestly. I don't know how the insurances stack up off the top of my head value-wise and stuff like that. Saver One to a lesser extent, but it's still an option, right? I think the Journey just has more 3X to match the Strata, but the Saver One is definitely is a good option. Definitely a popular card if you can get it. According to Reddit and many different forums or sources, do you think most people who have multiple Citi Custom Cash cards have 2 or more? From what I've heard, most people who have multiple Citi Custom Cash cards have 2. Well, I have 2 because it's not that hard to get, because you apply for one, you product change your double cash to a custom cash, and you could still product change your Citi Strata or whatever if you didn't really want it. So that's really how you get multiples. The benefits of getting multiples is, again, you can cover, for me, one is gas and one is dining. I don't even dine that much, but you get multiple coverage. So yeah, I mean, I think the answer, when we did the death of quarterly category cards, I think the custom cash killed quarterly category cards, because that's the reason I have 5 freedoms. Is the answer used to be, how can I get multiple freedoms, multiple discover cards? But with Citi now, I can just pick and choose which one I want. I think the answer to the game is now, especially for cash back, is now how many custom cash cards can I get? So yeah, I can definitely see 2. After 2, I mean, you really have to either not have a ton of other cards for coverage or just have really specific use case. Like, I want one more card that would be like, this is dedicated to like home improvement or something. So I could see getting a third one eventually, but it's just going to take some time as far as approvals and stuff like that goes. So I would say, yeah, I can see why a lot of people would have 2 for sure. Do you have any Bank of America customized cash cards? I have 3. two of the red ones and one of the Susan G. Komen, which is basically the same thing. If so, how many? Just answer that. What's the deal with some people having multiple? Stan is a fellow Bank of America person. So I applied for one directly. So that's one. The Susan G. Komen card is the same thing, just branded with the Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness stuff. That's two. I'm counting them both as that. I think the name is customized Susan G. Komen customized cash. And then they used to be much more uptight about product changing from what I read. But when I got the Smartly card, 4%. I took my Bank of America Unlimited Cash card, 2.6%. I called in. I said, hey, can I product change this to a customized cash card? And they said yes. From what I read on Reddit, it was much more difficult to product change with Bank of America. You had to call in a few times. They're like, well, maybe you don't have an offer on your account right now, whatever other nonsense. But they just let me do it. So that's how I got three. And so one is like online purchases, like specifically for like the internet, which is like I just... like the plugin for WordPress that allows the website to auto post to Twitter and Threads, right? I just re-upped the subscription for that for like $150. So that stays over on one. Another one is online. I think I use the other one for travel. Since I don't have a better travel card, I just put labels on all of them. So yeah, that's how you do it. And then I would probably go back and get more, maybe. The answer might be more of those than customized caches. But Bank of America is also a little bit more lenient on approvals. If you're a current customer, they have that 7 and 12 rule. So you could probably get more, but yeah, that's how people do it. So I'm happy to have them. Get my money's worth on a Platinum Honors for sure. Oh, here we go. Red Sox Nation back. It's a presidential election between the two best presidents in history, Donald J. Trump or Ronald Reagan. Who are you voting for? I don't actually think this is a bad question. The problem is I was not around during the Reagan run, so I don't know for sure. I feel like the answer is probably Reagan. I know everyone didn't love him with this whole Reaganomics deal, loading up on like defense spending, but he seems like a guy who would be stuff that I would like. I mean, I do think the military should have an unlimited budget. I mean, why not? Freedom isn't free, and I think he's probably the answer. Is where Trump's kind of like, he has good thoughts, but there's also a lot of like rambling in there, and he's not the best communicator with this tariff stuff. Are they, will they, won't they, are they in, are they out kind of thing. Like, if you're going to do it, just be decisive and do it. All this waffling is just kind of, I think it's making you look bad, especially for a dude who's at the legacy mark of his presidency, right? You don't agree with him, but when you can't be reelected, again, we assume, you're making the legacy play. And I don't know that he's doing the best job right now. I mean, he doesn't bother me the way he bothers some people, but I feel like the answer is probably Reagan, but I'm saying that having not lived through the Reagan run. So it's a little bit tougher for me to answer that like legit without just going through and like deep diving what he did and then coming out on the other end. Because, you might say like, hey, well, why don't you know more about it? Because I generally don't care who the president is and what the president does. My overall opinion is that, my success and my failure is up to me and me alone, no matter what the president does. And I would apply that to Trump or Reagan. But I feel like Reagan probably is the answer. And, maybe they could just run on the same ticket or something. What's your answer? I don't know. Some historian let me know down below in the comments. But I'm clarifying that with, I just wasn't around for it. But I think the answer is probably Reagan. KC here, back on topic. How much value does the consumer get from relationship banking? Having multiple bank products, more money with one bank would seem to go against your strategy of risk stratifying by having money bank products with multiple different banks. If both are important, what is a good balance? I don't think relationship banking is important at all. I think it's important to you to get the best products that serve you and your needs, wherever those are. Relationship banking, one, is you're said to have a relationship with the bank if you have a single product over there, right? But I think in this, the only real bank we've seen with relationship banking is Bank of America, because if you give us more money, we give you better pricing across the board. U.S. Bank sort of tried it. That went poorly for them, we assume, but I don't see a real value. I think there's different tiers of relationship. There's like relationship, like, okay, I walk into the branch and they know my name. I like that feeling. The teller knows me. Like, that's the type of relationship. It's still just an employee and you're still just a customer. Maybe on the business side, if you had an actual business and, your banker is like cares enough to actually, do some advisement, if you will, maybe, but that's also assuming not every banker will do it. I guess it's more so like having a doctor. Like, I don't have a primary care doctor. I just go to any place, which turns out doctors don't like that. When you walk in, they just really don't. But, whatever. I don't want to be on one person's time. I want to go wherever's convenient for me. And really what they mean is the relationship thing starts to kick in, I believe, when you have money under management, right? And then you kind of get your own financial planner or financial advisor. But even then, you might not. You can go to the branch and get one, but that costs money. They're not doing it because you're your pal and you have, accounts with them. So I think the relationship thing is way overblown. I think what we're keying in on more so is a cross-sell piece, and that person sitting across from me may have a vested interest in me getting the product, and they get a commission. I get the product I want. I'll tell you a story. I don't know this person, but I was at the bank years and years and years ago. Since it's been closed down. It's like Cole Taylor, MB Financial, something like that. And was in the appraisal department. It's just a guy paper pusher. And for whatever reason, we get this loan in, and it was a very weird appraisal. And basically we had to do it again, and it didn't really meet value. Long story short, I don't remember what specifically, but our boss had to go in there and note something. And we're like, well, what happened with that? And it was like, oh, well, that guy was a big net worth client with the bank. So we know we can't sell that loan, so we're just going to fund his mortgage, whatever it was, and just put it in portfolio. Which means that was a big enough person that we gave him a loan, but we knew something was wrong with it at the time. It wasn't conforming to like Freddie and Fannie standards, so they would buy it. So we just put it on the portfolio. So we basically we gave him the money, we're holding on to the loan instead of selling it and getting our money back instantly. That was a huge favor for that person. I'm not going to say it's rare. It probably happens all the time, which doesn't bother me, but it's not going to happen to us, right? Like, that's not going to happen. I think when you think of relationship, that's kind of what you think about, but I don't think anything like that happens for us. So for me, go to the places where you have the best relationship. One more story while we're here. My Quicken Loans, a Rocket mortgage banker, just called me the other day. He was like, hey man, I was looking at some stuff. It might be, we might have something for you on the refinance front. Okay, maybe, but that's not like because we have a relationship. He's got, a lead list of work, and, does it benefit me? Sure, but if I was with Chase or PNC or whoever, all bankers work a lead list when you're in servicing. Their systems keep an eye on it and like ping you to the top, like, hey, there could be something here. So I just don't think I think the word relationship is just overused to make people feel special and better, but I don't think you get anything from it. You're really just talking about finding a financial advisor that you like to work with, but even then, you could do most of this stuff yourself. You have to have a ton of money for, I think, to actually need a financial advisor. So if you prefer that, then by all means. I don't care about that one bit, so I don't value it at all. I can see why people would, but yeah, I don't think there's any risks or anything like that. But that's just my opinion. So, people, if you have a relationship, you can let us know down below. But I think the one benefit to summarize that is you would have someone working at the bank that knows you like a doctor would know your records, more or less. But a lot of times the doctor sees you once a year. So they're flipping through your chart while you're sitting in the waiting room to refamiliarize. Like, doctor's not just sitting around thinking about you all the time. So, unless you have a ton of money. If you had a ton of money, it's a little bit different. But again, you had a ton of money, well, you probably wouldn't be watching this show. I thank you for it, but... All right, we had a few questions about this Puerto Rico thing, so I'm going to group those all together now. So Johnny Ma asked about it, the Credit Card Connection asked about it, and Anthony Venture asked about it. So I'm going to put all their questions into one, which will probably mess up my count when I do the questions out in post. But so we're going to do. The gist of it is, are you going to Puerto Rico in November? I've pretty much been like, no, because I just don't want to spend the money. Number two, I don't want to spend the time, which is nothing against the event or the people going. The credit card meetup somewhere in Puerto Rico this time around was the holiday, alleged holiday, not a real holiday in November, Veterans Day, which no disrespect to veterans, but I don't count it as if I don't get the day off from work, it's not a holiday. Easter just happened, didn't get the day off from work, not a holiday. Don't want to hear anything else. Just not as disrespectful as you think. So, no, because I like to go places. Like when we went to Vegas, I was there for just over 24 hours. When we did New Orleans, I was there for under 24 hours. Come in, come out. keep costs down, keep the time down. Veterans Day is like on a Tuesday of all things, so I assume you're doing it that weekend. But still, like I can't get down there. That's a full day of travel both ways. You're probably talking about like 4 days now, 5 days, like a total event versus staying a day to get your money's worth. It's just not something I want to spend my money on, and I definitely don't want to spend the time doing it. I hope everyone has a good time. I will say I kind of think I'm of the mind that I won't be the only one to say that. I mean, it could be, and you can let me know. But I feel like we probably overshot it with this one. When I did it last year when they brought it up and I was like messing around the Delta app, it was like $1,100, $1,200 like round trip or something. I was like, I don't want to spend $1,200 on that. So that's why I'm just going to be rude or dismissive. I just want to be direct as possible. It's possible. I just don't want to spend the money or the time traveling to do that, just for like a 3 hour, like, hey, what's going on, guys? I'll catch you on the next one. Make it Miami or something, I can get down and back in a day. I'm all about it. But yeah, just missing that much time, that much cost. That's really the reason. So I know people do plan around it. I doubt anyone was planning to come see me, but that is likely why probably not be. I'm going to stick with no. Could change, I suppose, if I get canned or something. I have a bunch of free time, maybe, but probably not. But thank you for asking. It is flattering nonetheless. And I hope you guys have a lovely time. All you guys with your credit card points and whatever who go for free. D Green here. Which high yield savings account do you use, and what are your thoughts on fintech accounts? You can typically get higher interest rates with fintechs versus traditional banks, but I'm wary of parking cash for these companies. I have Ally, but I need to move because I break my Ally account. I'm not going to blame Ally for this. The reason I liked Ally is because I can transfer so much money back and forth, so many multiple transfers, and they don't seem to care. Chase would always care. Other people would always care. Bank of America had weird limits, transfer limits. But what happened is I kept adding and removing so many accounts that I break it. And somehow behind the scenes, you can only have so many accounts linked to Ally, external accounts. And even though I've deleted most of them, something behind the scenes is like, you have way too many accounts, and I can't add any more. That's just happened once, and I called them, and it took them 3 months to fix it. And it happened again now, and I was like, I'm not going to bother trying to explain this to them. It's just a hassle. So right now I use Ally. I should probably move it over to US Bank, if nothing else, to prop up my Smartly balance with the tariff stuff. It's down to like 93 or 4,000, something like that in the IRA. So, I could just move my money over there and prop it up. Ally still 3 and some change, or US Bank still 3 and some change, I think. But it really doesn't matter to me because I don't keep that much money in there anyways. Like, I just pulled 20 grand back from Huntington Business, which is now on its way to Wells Fargo Business in the form of 25 grand to hit another bonus. I just sent $10,000 to ARC. After that freed up from wherever it was before, I've got 10 grand with Associated. So because I just keep doing the bank promotions, I just end up with like a holder account. And I very rarely, if ever, have that much money sitting in a high yield account that it doesn't matter to me personally. So I guess I'll use US Bank just to pad it out as a holding place. That said, the fintechs, yeah, I mean, like as long as it's FDIC, you'll get your money back. It doesn't mean it's not going to be a headache, but you'll get your money. I don't do any real banking with fintechs because a lot of times their apps are set up and they're kind of salesy or they're cheesy or childish, to me at least. They're always pulling features. Like I was trying to send money from GoToBank that I keep open for referrals to myself. And it's like, oh, you can't, I don't want to say, no, it was GoToBank. It's like, you can't transfer out. You can pull out from other banks, but they stop supporting transfers. So you'll see dumb things like that. Customer service is dumb. Like, hey, chat us in the app. Why don't you just give me a phone number? But then it's just some generic call center where they probably do calls for everybody. So that's why I don't like fintechs for that reason. It's not so much a money security reason. It's just I find them annoying. And we've seen so many of them go under. Normally they do give you a warning, like Fintron, which is a brokerage account, but they decided they're going under. They did send notice so you could move your money. I know people will cite the whole Yada thing and whoever they were with. That doesn't happen too often. It's pretty rare. So that wouldn't really bother me. But, you can find some fives out there. Not fives. Back then you could, like the whole redneck bank thing, everything like that. You can definitely find some higher rates out there to be sure, but that's how I kind of do it. So my saving strategy is pretty much just bank promotions, sending money out there. And I know people look at the return and subtracting interest. Well, I like to keep a certain amount of money on hand. It's usually like $10,000 per house, which would be 30 grand, plus $10,000 for myself, which would cover self expenses like you smash something and you have to fix it, right? That's why it doesn't get invested. So for me, just moving it from bank promotion to bank promotion, it's fun. It helps me get towards a 10 grand number, and it kind of takes away needing to lock it down in one savings account. CIBC was a good one for a while. I think they had a higher rate as well. I don't know what they're at, but you could check them out. That's the other one that comes to mind. But yeah, they're definitely out there. So anyways, there you go. That's another Puerto Rico question. DRZ says, how's your retirement fund? I mean, still fine. I mean, honestly, I don't pay attention much to it at all. If I would just pay attention more, I just had this conversation with someone the other day. If I would just pay attention, learn more about stocks and stupid bank promotions and credit cards, I'd probably be so much better off. So half of it's at Bank of America, which is at one point was like 107, because I had split it to go to U.S. Bank, and now the U.S. Bank was just over 100. So after the market stuff, I think I'm still at 102 or something at Bank of America, like 93 or 94 at U.S. Bank. There's whatever. I have one through my regular job. I don't really log in to check that whenever. I just contribute whatever like the maximum is that the match goes up to. So, 200 low. It used to be higher, but about 200. You could just say like 200 even maybe. Not counting whatever's in the work one. Selling houses in the end are probably going to be a good portion of that. But look, I don't really complain. It did drop. I check it again more to support my preferred rewards and my Smartly status. Tariffs did what they did. The market didn't go down because of tariffs. The market went down because people chose to protect themselves by locking in earnings. I made the active choice to do nothing, not check it, not pay attention. So any drops are on me and on nobody else. I do think that's important to say. So I don't really complain because I chose not to sell to lock in gains or anything like that. And truthfully, I don't really care. If I was like much older and about to retire, then yeah, I might care significantly more. But I don't know. I was more concerned like, am I going to keep my preferred rewards, my 4% status than anything else? It'll go back up. It always does. I'm not worried about that. But that's where I'm sitting at right now. I do check. Yeah, I keep checking it now because I will send extra. Now that we know we're grandfathered into U.S. Bank, I will still send more money over there to prop it up. But that's where I'm at right now. Sean, last one here. Do you think Citi will get involved with lounges finally with their new premium card outside of the limited Admirals lounges? Well, they do have like some kind of Citi Gold lounge like overseas, and they did have the Strata lounge trademark or something. I mean, probably. I don't think they should because like the great thing about Citi is always like it's either gonna be good or terrible, and like I just never know how much they care. Truthfully, I think Chase did lounges pretty lazily by partnering with the club versus kind of doing their own from scratch. Like the Boston one I think was a rebranded club. I think Capital One lounges again are the sweet spot for me because they're not overly dramatic and fancy, the right amount. I was coming back from Denver a while back, and the line to get in the Centurion Club was so long. I mean, I don't have a card anymore, but just looking at it was silly. So do I think they'll get into it? Yeah, I think they'll try one or two. I think that when they come out with their top tier card, they're good just to compete. That lounges seem to be the thing. You could add Admirals Club to it maybe, but then you'll start to cause Admirals Club to have the same problem that all the other lounges have. So yeah, I think they'll get into it. Will it be any good is always the question. For some reason, it'll either be amazing or it'll be like a poorly done priority pass lounge, right? Because that's Citi. But if you look at these cards, it's like, well, how can you not? On one hand, we all knock it, but on the other hand, how can you not have it? Sapphire now has it. Capital One now has it. Amex has always had it. The airline flagship cards have it. The only one that, I'm not really going to count Priority Pass. So Bank of America's Travel Elite card has it. The metal one has Priority Pass, but like it doesn't have their own lounge network. Not that they should, but it just seems like it seems like a miss, even though it's not really a miss. So I guess how do you not have it, I suppose, is the question. What I think they're all missing is we got to find the next thing outside of lounges, because not everyone, even if you go to the airport all the time, it's like a lot of times you just get there and go to your gate. Like you're not getting there early to hang out at the lounge. I think the thing they're missing, like I would rather Citi go down the route of like, again, it'll be tough because this will never be where I live or where many people live because you just want, the major cities. But can you go to places where you build things that you can just go to every day? Like a lounge or a bar that's not in an airport, maybe. I know Amex and Chase, I think, have played around with that, the Sapphire pop-ups, and, Amex has had some stuff like that as well. But I think we really got to find the next thing away from airport lounges. Like, how nice can they get? And again, if you saw that line, there's so many people just waiting. When you get in there, it's crowded, it's hot, the stuff is picked over. I mean, there's got to be something else other than lounges. But I think that would require more expensive credit cards and more exclusive credit cards, which is probably going to make people upset. None of that is what you asked me. But yes, I do think Citi will make a go at it. I just don't know how good they'll be. But that Citi Gold Lounge, again, does look good, but I don't know much about that. It's not here. Did they partner with somebody? I could just be totally wrong. So anyways, we'll see. But yes, I do think they'll have to do something. So let me know what you would like to see in a Citi Lounge. But again, the Strata, when the Prestige was around, I guess the last thing is they could just make the Prestige again and people would be just as happy. I think it had Priority Pass, but that fourth night free thing people love so much that they didn't even care. So there are other ways to compete. But you'd really have to step up the card and its value versus, just relying on lounges that, end up being lounge passes and it gets nerfed and crowded and everything. So I would like to see them come up with something else, another way to compete. I think they had it in the original Prestige card. I don't think they're going to go that hard again, but I would like to see it. So there you go. That's everyone's questions answered. So, of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below if you found it particularly interesting. Consider subscribing to the channels. We're posting content just like this every single week. And, of course, we're right back every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com, our blog, which is always linked down below for you, as well as on the homepage. It has news stories, plenty of bank promotions if you want to get in before the obstacles and denials ensue, and, of course, credit card offers as well. Already asked you every question. We already did the question, so if you want anything else down below, you want to chop it up, yell at me, debate me, whatever, all that down below, I'm here for it. So appreciate it, guys, and I will catch you very soon in the next one.